What is up, guys? It's Janine. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I am going to give you a Lashify update and talk about what the removal process was, as well as some tips and tricks, so stay tuned. So the first thing I want to say is if you are new to Lashify, or if you have not already watched my first impressions video and the first time of me applying Lashify, I highly recommend watching that video first. I will link it right up here. And then once you watch that, come over here and watch part 2. Also, if you are new to my channel, do not forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified when I post new videos. This is a nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, beauty, and fashion channel. I post videos like 2 to 3 times a week, so I would love to have you guys stick around. First off, as you already know, I had applied Lashify for the first time last week. I was able to keep that full set on for an entire week and decided to go ahead and do the removal process today so that I can give myself a fresh new set. Now, I have to say, I worked out all week. I was very active. I sweat. I did all the things. I slept. I tend to be a face sleeper, and I had no issues. I had no gossamers fall out. I didn't even have to refuse after the very first morning. I never refused again. So it was a very successful first week on Lashify. If you recall from my last video, I was kind of concerned that I might need to like travel with a wand and glue just in case I lost one. I kind of have the confidence now where I don't think I'm going to need to do that. So let me first start with removal. So since it had been a full week and I wanted a nice fresh set, this morning I decided to go ahead with the removal. I took a shower, and instead of avoiding my eye area with the water, since I knew I wanted to remove them, I really just saturated my face with water. And after I got out of the shower, I'm going to put it up here. This is the product I use. It's Melt. It's a Lashify product, and I do recommend purchasing this. I just took some of that on a little cotton pad and gently held it onto my lashes for maybe like 10 seconds and swiped downward, and the lashes just came off. My own natural lashes were very much intact, definitely have grown, and were not in any way impacted by having had Lashify on them, at least from what I can tell. I was actually very impressed. The removal was very easy. I don't know if you've tried to remove regular lash extensions before with like that chemical remover. That's not so easy. This was nothing like that. It literally dissolved the glue and they slid right off. Then I just made sure I cleaned my lashes really well and started my RELASH application process with a nice, clean, dry face. Now, I'm not going to go over the application process because if you want to see that again, you can just go ahead and check out the video that I'll link up here again. But today's video, I wanted just to talk about a couple of tips that I have for you before you start to apply your own, or if you're having trouble with Lashify. So, as you know, this is the wandum, and this is what you use to fuse the lash together. What I find that this is not actually the best tool to place the lash. So this is excellent to fuse it, but to actually place the lash, I found that the use of this tool was much, much easier. And I will link this down below. And the reason for that is you barely just pick up the gossamer with like one little hair, and you just lightly just drop the gossamer where you want it. And then you can kind of, if you're looking at the mirror that I recommend you get, it's very close up, you can kind of just fix the placement. If you use this for placement, it gets stuck. And I think I talked about this in my last video, but because you're using this wand to fuse, it gets a little glue on it. So when you go to pick up another lash and you go to release it onto your eye, it sticks to the wand instead of to your lash. And so I quickly figured that out and switched over to this method, and it was much, much easier this way. So I highly recommend doing that. That sped up the application process so easily. And then I think I mentioned this in my last video, you don't need to start out with this. So if you are still needing to try Lashify for the very first time, I wouldn't necessarily get this, but if you are going to continue with Lashify, then I would recommend this tool because this was really nice. If you apply too much glue, you can kind of dry the glue really fast, and then after the application process, just to dry everything up so that it's not tacky or anything like that. You would just kind of go over everything before you apply the glass. But that's basically it. The process was very, very easy for Relash. I thought I did better with placement this time. It was faster. And this time I actually did something a little different. I used 3 E16s starting on the outer edges. Then I used a B16 right in the center, and then 2 B12s. So since I had, I had bought all kinds of lashes, so I wanted to kind of do something a little different. But it basically looks the same. I actually think it looks better. I did get a little better with placement this time around. But that's it, guys. It's still a 10 out of 10 in my book. I was really, really impressed with it. The lashes stay intact the entire time. It's no different than when you have lash extensions in terms of care. Don't get them super drenched. Don't use makeup remover. Don't use mascara. It's all the obvious things. Try not to sleep on them. But like I said, I did and still didn't have an issue. The one thing that's different about these than with lash extensions is you do not need to brush them out with a spoolie. At least I didn't. Maybe you do, or maybe it depends on the type of lash. Because I'm using the dramatic lashes and they're kind of dense, they kind of stay put. I think maybe if you used more wispy or thinner or less dense lashes, maybe you would need the spoolie brush, but I didn't. Other than that, that's it. If you have tried Lashify, or if you have any questions about Lashify, please comment below. I'll definitely be answering all the questions. I definitely recommend trying it out. Even if you currently have lash extensions and you're happy with it, like I said, I'm actually happier with this than my lash extensions. One other thing before I sign off is the membership. So once you are deciding that Lashify is what you're going to use to do your lashes and you're going to keep up with it, you definitely want to sign up for the Luxe Box membership because it's like 50% off. And it's really very easy. So you can kind of just throw in what you think you want your automatic order to be and whatever the frequency you want, but then you can control it. So for example, now that I know what lash styles I like and what products I'm actually going to need, before my next order ships, I'm going to simply go into the app, pull up my next order, and update what I want in that order. And you can do that every time before each order, so you don't have to guess at what you're going to need. So I know for my next order, there's a couple of other lash styles I want to try, and I want to make sure I restock my glue, and I'm going to get the wandums, the little plastic pieces for the wand so that I can replace that. But it's really, really very simple, and it's like a no-brainer. You have to do the Luxe Box because it's 50% off, and it makes it just much more affordable than lash extensions, and I highly, highly recommend it. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out, and we'll see you on the next one.